Christmas may be on the way, but a cool breeze is exactly what the Saints are all about right now as they try to march toward another Super Bowl. It's an interconference matchup here in Week 13. The New Orleans Saints, the Cincinnati Bengals, right here on Fox. And welcome to the booth here in Cincinnati, a chilly Cincinnati. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, we're warm up here. We're ready to play some football. John, you talk about the New Orleans Saints. They are 8-3. I think they've got their mojo back. They're chasing the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, the Falcons are in first place in the NFC South. The Saints cannot afford to lose a game here. They're going to put their faith in a man they've always put their faith in, the quarterback, Drew Brees.
Oh, that's right, Ronnie. And, partner, I'm going to send an alert to the rest of the league. The defending Super Bowl champs are peaking. They're playing their best ball at the right time. We talked to head coach Sean Payton about just that. He said, we're healthy. We've gone through some adversity, but it's going to make us better. And they are a team to be reckoned with. Now, for the Cincinnati Bengals, what a difference a year makes. This time last year, 8-3 on top of one of the best divisions in football. They've lost their toughness. They were a ground and pound, hard-nosed football team. They went out, got some weapons, and feel like they got to utilize them. Not so fast. You got to go back to who you were to have a chance to compete against the New Orleans Saints here today.
Meanwhile, Drew Brees, the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. We'll talk to him in just a few seconds. But first, this from the Verizon NFL mobile update. And now here is John Lynch's sit-down interview with quarterback Drew Brees.
You said I needed New Orleans just as much as New Orleans needed me.
Obviously, New Orleans, 6 months post-Katrina, sitting there with still, almost 90% of the city destroyed, and I think people just trying to figure out, where to go from there. And here I was coming off that serious right shoulder injury. New Orleans had as much confidence in me to come back and be successful and lead their team as I had in myself. I mean, that meant the world to me, and it just made me feel such a sense of responsibility to the city and to the people.
You've mentioned it at numerous times, both you and Brittany, your wife, have, that when you visited that drive with Sean Payton.
That's another one of those things that it wasn't supposed to happen. Sean was not supposed to get lost driving us back to the facility. He was supposed to take us the nice, pretty, scenic route back to the facility and then put us on the plane. And here we are driving through some of the most devastated areas of New Orleans. I mean, you see it on TV and you say, oh boy, I'm glad I'm not there. But to see it in person, it takes on a whole new meaning. And I think Brittany and I kind of looked at each other in shock, but also saying, you know what, we could really be a part of something here.
Always nice to sit down and chat with the future Hall of Famer, Drew Brees. Right now, the UPS logistics of the game.
When you're facing the 2010 New Orleans Saints, you better come ready to play. This is the best first quarter team in all of football. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, this is exactly why Sean Payton calls them so dangerous. They've been in every game this year.
These logistics of the game have been delivered to you by UPS. Put the power of logistics to work for you at thenewlogistics.com. Kickoff coming up next here in Cincinnati.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Yes, Santa is on the way. You can see the temperatures here, 32 degrees, a threat of snow. John Lynch just put the gloves away. I thought he was going to put them on, but we're ready to go here. That's Scott and Cosby, Quan Cosby back deep to receive the Hartley kick. Taken at the 4, that's Scott. Scott making a move, bouncing outside, rounded up at about the 28-yard line. Carson Palmer has had a rough go of it. He's fighting new injuries, a foot, an ankle, a hip, along with old injuries like a knee and an elbow. But he says the frustration level, John Lynch, has been at an all-time high here with the win-loss record.
And a good way to help that frustration level is to give the ball to Cedric Benson. It worked for him last year. They need to get back to that.
Up front in the offensive line, Whitworth rolling outside, Livings, Williams and Cook inside. Dan Scuda, the linebacker, will line up at the fullback spot right off the top. And they'll run that direction. That's Benson. Benson vows to help get the run game going. He went over 1,000 yards last year. Barely at 800 this year. Defensively, going up against a number 7 defense in the NFL, all 4 can get to the quarterback.
You look in the back end, John Vilma leads the charge at the linebacker position. And in the secondary, Malcolm Jenkins coming off the fine play that really sealed and allowed them to win that Cowboys game. But Darren Sharper returns, and we'll see a lot of him as well.
Pick up a 3 on the last play. They'll give inside. That's Benson again. The Bengals have the weapons outside. You know about Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco, but John, those guys have not added up to much in terms of winning records.
Yeah, they've got nice numbers. You look at their numbers, and as a duo, they're one of the top duos in the National Football League. But the formula, again, they got away from who they were. You look at this now, you're in a 3rd and 5 situation. That's a manageable situation. You got Jordan Shipley, the fine young receiver in the slot. He's really been their 3rd down guy.
They'll go with a 4 wide receiver look on a 3rd and 4. Palmer with time, throws, and it's caught. That's the young tight end out of Oklahoma, Jermaine Gresham, pick number 21 overall. And they are very excited about him. Let's see where they mark this. It's just short. It's going to be 4th down. Boy, and it looks like the Bengals.
Hey, Ronnie, you watch Gresham at the end. He's going to stick the ball out to try to gain that 1st down. By the time he stuck it out, his foot was out of bounds. So I think the referees were right on the spot.
John, I was going to say it looks like the Bengals are going to go for it, but they wanted to hold off on the measurement. Here comes the measurement. The Bengals lead the series between these two teams, 6-5, and have now won 3 straight, including the last matchup in New Orleans back in 2006. The Saints are solid on the road, a 4-1 this year. Best road record in the last season and a half at 11-2. And that is just shy. Decision time, no decision. As the Boo Birds come out here in Cincinnati, I guess they figure at 2-9, why not?
That's true, but remember, you're playing against the most explosive first quarter team in the National Football League in the New Orleans Saints, and I think Marvin Lewis is doing the right thing here. You got to punt and trust your defense.
Marvin Lewis, 8th year as head coach, the final year of his contract last year. The NFL Coach of the Year after a spectacular season by his Bengals. 10-6 champions of the AFC North. This will be the left footer, Huber. He's standing at his 23-yard line. Reggie Bush is healthy, but Porter is back deep. Huber drives this one, great punt inside the 10 for Porter. He needs a block, there's one. Tries to cut it back, but the coverage is excellent by Cincinnati. And an early marker here, we'll hear from Jeff Triplett, our referee. 55 yards on the punt, 6 yards on the return. Triplett signaling hold.
Holding during the kick, number 55, the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
So here's Drew Brees as you look at Sean Payton there, and Brees, the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year, just received that award this week. Not only for what he's been able to do on the field, John, but for his commitment and charitable excellence off the field.
And at the running back position, they have a healthy Reggie Bush back in action. Sean Payton says he's close to 100%. Reggie Bush second that to me down on the field, and an outstanding offensive line led by the 2 guards in there, Nix and Jari Evans.
They'll also get Shockey back. He's been out the last 2 games with a rib injury. Backed up after the penalty. This is Bush. Bush with a cut, and Bush with a great run on 1st down.
Partner, he look healthy to you?
Looked like he's good to go. And he's going up against a defense in the Bengals that's ranked 23 in the NFL, giving up 4.5 yards a rush. Keep your eye on Domata Peko, number 94. He can get to the quarterback, very energetic.
The corner is really the strength of this defense to me. The safeties will be tested today.
A pickup of 10. They'll switch it up. That's Ivory. Ivory, the hard-running rookie out of Tiffin College here in Ohio. He'll get 2 as they mix it up early. You saw Zach Streif there trying to get it going. Streif, another hometown product here from Milford, Ohio.
Forward progress is ruled on the play.
Couple Ohio kids coming back home, John.
A bunch of coaches from Miami of Ohio on the Saints staff. Offensive line, Aaron Cromer.
John, you look at the first possession points by the Saints. They are a fast starting team. The Bengals said we have to survive their first wave. The easy out and an easy first down to Lance Moore. Our first game break of the day. Let's go out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
And our first touchdown of the day, courtesy of the New York Giants on their first possession of the day. Brandon Jacobs, the new starting running back, who was the old starting running back, scores from 8 yards out, and they lead the Skins 7-0. Ron and John.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. The Eagles at 8-4 on top of the division, followed by the Giants and Redskins. Streif checks in the game there. Going to the long corner route, and it is wide open. Marcus Colston, and Colston takes it all the way down to the 30-yard line. John, we just set it up. The first possession start by the Saints. It's always big, and there's one reason why. A pickup of 43.
Let's watch Marcus Colston right here. They're going to go a little play action, and he's going to run a corner route, and Drew Brees puts it right on the spot. Marcus Colston, the Saints' leading receiver, you can't leave him that wide open. Drew Brees will get him every time.
Third in the NFL in catches behind Roddy White and Reggie Wayne. Came into the game with 68. The backdoor screen, that's to Devery Henderson, and Henderson hit hard. Nice play there by the defensive end, Michael Johnson. No gain on the play.
Ronnie, we've seen a great illustration of something the Saints do so well. They have so many weapons. We started the game with Bush. We saw Ivory. We saw Lance Moore. You see Marcus Colston, and they're going to keep coming. We haven't even mentioned Shockey. We just saw Devery Henderson. They have a ton of weapons, and they use them all.
Second and 10, Bush. Bush with a nice block out front by Nix. And Bush will pick up a couple. He'll get 4.
You mention all these weapons. They go 5 deep at the running back position, and guys that are really playing at the wide receiver position, 4 legitimate wide receivers. And let me tell you, I don't know if there's a better tight end group in the National Football League than these guys. Explosive players at all the positions. You really have to give Sean Payton and their general manager, Mickey Loomis, a lot of credit for the talent that they've acquired.
And this is where the Bengals said they had to get off the field here, 3rd and 6. Julius Jones checks in, pressured, sack. Geno Atkins, along with Carlos Dunlap, 2 rookies, sacking the Super Bowl MVP, a loss of 8.
Only 12 sacks coming into the game, and watch Dunlap with the spin move coming in. He's had 3 sacks in the last 3 games, and he gets there along with Geno Atkins. Marvin Lewis said this Carlos Dunlap can be as good as he wants to be. He's got all the talent in the world. He's got to keep that motor going, and the motor's running early for Carlos Dunlap.
So the Saints will be forced to punt it away. That'll be Cosby back deep to receive the Morstead punt. Morstead will try to kill this one inside the 5. He's got a shot, but just got into the end zone. A marker is down near the punter. Brandon Johnson may have contacted Morstead. We're waiting for Jeff Triplett. Now he rolled onto him.
I think what they're calling is a 5-yard.
Yeah.
Running into the kicker. Defense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That is the less flagrant variety. However, now that gives the Saints a chance to go for a field goal, moves them a little bit closer.
that's exactly what they've done. They brought Garrett Hartley, their kicker, in, and for the Cincinnati Bengals, you step up and you stop an explosive team on their first drive. Little mistakes like that are why you are 2-9 as a football team. You cannot give more opportunities to a team like the New Orleans Saints.
48 yards out. He's 2 from 3 in this distance. Got it up. It's through clean. No markers are down, so perfect point by my partner, John Lynch. They were off the field, but one mistake leads to 3 points early for the defending Super Bowl champions.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
8 plays, 65 yards. The second chance for the Saints, and they make good on it. 3 points, 48-yard field goal by Hartley. John, it's a little of who dat versus who day. That's the chant here in Cincinnati, who day. And this will be Scott at the 4. Scott with a lane, and Scott with a nice return. So with 8 minutes here in the first quarter, Saints up early, 3-zip.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
A light snow starting to fall here in Cincinnati. The Bengals will take over at the 33-yard line. Darren Sharper is healthy. He is checked in at the safety spot for the Saints. He has been bothered by a hamstring. He's good to go. The run game inside Benson, and Benson will have about 6 or 7 on first down. Let's go for this update out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Brett Favre making his 297th consecutive regular season start against Buffalo, but he's injured on this play. Hit by Arthur Moats, the pass is picked off. Favre hurt his left shoulder out of the game. They say his return is questionable. Tavares Jackson now in quarterback in the Vikings. Ron and John.
Minnesota Vikings trying to finish respectable at 4-7. Chasing the pack at 7-4, and the Bears leading the division at 8-3. A pickup of 6 on that last play. The hot one over the middle, a little high, intended for Owens. Jabari Greer on the coverage.
That's a ball that Carson Palmer, and rightly so, expects Terrell Owens to catch. That ball's there. It's a catchable ball. Now, Terrell Owens has had an outstanding year when you look at the numbers. He's been extremely explosive, averaging over 14 yards per catch, but it just hasn't clicked for this offense. You said who day earlier. I'm trying to figure out who this offense is, because it's just not recognizable.
And we've heard that echoed by some of the players. They're not exactly sure which direction the offense is going in. 3rd and 4, and I know what direction that's going. That's called backward. That's Brian Leonard and Malcolm Jenkins, the big play man in the Thanksgiving Day game against the Dallas Cowboys. The big play against Roy Williams to ice the game comes up with another one here.
Well, watch Malcolm Jenkins. This guy is starting to show up more and more, and he's the starter at free safety with Darren Sharper. He moves to the nickel position, has corner skills, and he displays them there. I mean, he's not going to give an inch. He's got a fullback out there, gets up there and presses it and goes and makes a great play, which is what he has been doing all year long. They love Malcolm Jenkins, and they should.
A loss of 2, bringing on Huber to punt. Lance Moore back deep. This ball angling toward the sidelines, and will get a great bounce and will fall dead at about the 5-yard line. So the punter gives the Cincinnati defense great field position. 58 yards on the punt.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, let's build something together. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by The Tourist, starring Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp, in theaters Friday, rated PG-13.
The Saints hoping to continue their AFC dominance. They've won 9 of the last 10 versus AFC opponents. That's including, of course, the Super Bowl victory against the Indianapolis Colts. They'll take over at their own 5-yard line after the punt. Julius Jones at the halfback spot. They'll give to Jones. Jones with a hole, and Jones will give them quick breathing room, but wait, there's a marker down.
Holding, number 73 of the offense. Half the distance from the goal. Still first down.
Jari Evans.
And Jari Evans, outstanding player, probably the best offensive lineman on this Saints team, but he leads the National Football League in holds with 6 coming in. He's now got his 7th hold of the season. You see that left arm extended, and more like a hug than a hold, but you extend that arm, they're going to get it. They're going to call that.
So that'll back the Saints up. Ball spotted at about the 2-yard line. Play action. They'll throw it. Just got it away. And maybe it's a good thing that Jones didn't catch it, because he would have lost yards on the play if not been tackled for a safety.
Well, a great job by the Bengals early against this play action Max Pro offense of getting some pressure. This is a Bengals defense that has had absolutely no pass rush this year. Only 12 sacks on the year in 11 games. That's not good enough. Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, told us we have to get after the quarterback, and they've done a good job of that early.
Zimmer with some history with Sean Payton. They coached together in Dallas. 2nd and 13. Quick draw. Jones trying to push the pile. They're having a hard time finding Jones. They finally find him at about the 7-yard line. He picks up 4, but it's going to bring up 3rd down.
This is going to be a 3rd and 8. And against most teams, you're saying, great, this is a great situation. Against the New Orleans Saints, the #1 3rd down team in the National Football League. And 3rd and 6 against most teams is a win. They're at 37%. That's a high conversion rate at 37% on 3rd and long. And I think it goes to Drew Brees. He is so good in this pocket, and he finds the open guy every time.
Brees calls timeout. He was trying to communicate the audible, didn't like it. Coming up next, our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader continues with America's Game of the Week as the NFC South leading Falcons take on the Buccaneers. An important game for Tampa Bay's playoff hopes, or the Cowboys and the Colts. Coverage begins right after our game right here on Fox. 3rd and 8. Got it away. That's Jones, but Jones well shy of the 1st down. Good hustle by the Bengals defense, and that'll bring on the punt team for the Saints.
Good hustle by the defense and Nahani Jones, but great pressure up front, and that's been the story thus far. Drew Brees is used to really a wall inside, and this time it's Gathers forcing him up in the pocket. They put a hit on Drew Brees. Geno Atkins again. They're doing a nice job of creating pressure, and it bothers even Drew Brees.
Morstead will punt away at the goal line. This will be Quan Cosby taking it at the 35. He gets a block. Almost broke it. We'll take it down to the 48-yard line. 53 yards on the punt, 12 yards on the return by Cosby. So a 1st and 10 for Carson Palmer and the Bengals. Palmer with a game last weekend on Thanksgiving that he would rather forget. Not able to do much against the Jets in that loss. Only 135 yards passing. They're trying to get on track here. Bernard Scott at the halfback spot. Scott runs into a wall of white shirts. Look at the gang tackling by the Saints. Jonathan Vilma leads the charge, a pickup of 2.
You got to love that if you're defensive coordinator Greg Williams. When you get hats on the ball and you get numerous hats on the ball like the Saints just did, that's a good sign. It means your guys came ready to play. And that was a big message to these guys this week from Sean Payton. Do not take the Bengals lightly. They haven't.
Second down and 8. Williams there, only his second year as coordinator for the Saints, but it only took him 1 year to get his team to a Super Bowl. Pressure, sack. Vilma.
When I asked Carson Palmer the keys to the game this week, he said we all got to see the same thing. They bring a lot of pressures, as you see John Vilma coming off the corner. Our receivers have to see the same thing as me. It looks like Carson Palmer wanted a hot route. No one ran the hot route. And as a result, John Vilma gets his 3rd sack of the 2010 season.
A loss of 6. Vilma wearing that communication device. He will hear straight from Williams. He joked with us. He said it's not all fun and games. A lot of it is intense football expletives, if you know what I mean. 3rd down throw, and it's a 1st down. Great second effort by Jermaine Gresham, the rookie out of Oklahoma.
Well, everyone from Carson Palmer to Marvin Lewis just rave about Jermaine Gresham, the young rookie from Oklahoma. Carson says he has the ability, and just the ability, to be the best tight end in the National Football League. He's a big man that can run, and he shows that ability on that play. Great throw by Carson Palmer.
A pickup of 17. Gresham had a double root canal on Thursday. Needless to say, he was a little down in the mouth yesterday, but
False start, 77 offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
that's going against Whitworth. But what did Carson Palmer say about Gresham? He said, I hope that I'm around when this young kid gets it, because physically he's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah, and if you're a Bengals fan, you hope he figures that out a little faster than that, because I think Carson Palmer's got a lot of time left here in Cincinnati, and you know they want that growth curve to accelerate real quick. He's got all the tools. It's just figuring out the mental part of the game, but he's been very productive thus far this year.
His catch, the first down of the day for the Bengals. Play action, middle of the field, through the hands of Ocho Cinco and nearly intercepted.
I don't know what Chad Ocho Cinco is putting his hands up. That's a catchable ball that you have to catch. Carson Palmer delivers a nice ball right in Ocho Cinco's. Is a little high, yes, it's a little high, but you have to make that catch in the National Football League.
And John, this is what Bengals fans complain about. On paper, it looked like a great pickup with Terrell Owens there alongside Ocho Cinco, but it has not translated in wins. 2nd and 15. Going downhill is Bernard Scott, and he's through. 1st down, Cincinnati. Right now, let's go to Los Angeles for a Buffalo-Minnesota game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, we told you Tavares Jackson was in for the injured Brett Favre, and this is not what the Vikings want to see out of T-Jack. Picked off by Drayton Florence and returned 40 yards for a score. The Bills with a 7-0 lead. Ron and John. Florence already 2 picks in the 1st quarter.
Absolutely, Kurt. Not the kind of debut you want to make for Jackson as you look at the AFC East there. Jets, Patriots up strong. So after that nice run, a long corner route intended for Owens, it's incomplete.
But the last couple of plays this series, you're starting to see the game plan of the Cincinnati Bengals coming in. Offensive coordinator Bob Bratkowski told us we want to run downhill, number 1. As you hear 74, Dennis Rowland, an eligible receiver. And number 2, we want to take advantage of their speed with play action and misdirection.
Bob Bratkowski there, the son of a former Packer great, Zeke Bratkowski, both of which have coached in the NFL as coordinators. 2nd and 10. Back to the run game, and Scott has a knack for getting through there. A marker goes down late. They trip him up. He almost found another crease. Here's Jeff Triplett again.
Holding, 82 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's the 12-year vet tight end, Reggie Kelly.
But you can't get discouraged with the holding penalty. You're getting push up front. This offensive line is doing a great job, and it makes sense, that game plan. You've got a fast defense quick defense, but a smaller defense, and that's what the Saints are. The best way to beat that, counteract that, is to go right at them downhill, and the Bengals have done a nice job. Bernard Scott is the back who's done the better job thus far of exposing that.
So they'll keep Scott in at the back spot, the halfback spot. Play is stopped again. Things starting to get a little sloppy here.
Timeout. Cincinnati. They're first.
So a timeout called by Cincinnati. Well, here on Fox, it's the first ever American Country Awards, hosted by Trace Atkins, with over 15 performances from country music's biggest stars. It's the only country music award show where you vote for the winner. The American Country Awards live tomorrow at 8/7 Central, only on Fox.
Big Rascal Flatts fan, Ronnie?
Well, yeah, you know, for the kids, the movie there were cars and everything, but I'm an old George Strait fan.
All right,
Yeah.
old school.
You're right.
All my exes in Texas. So Carson Palmer, look at his numbers there. We mentioned earlier he has been battling injuries, some of them new, some of them from last year. He says his frustration level is at an all-time high, and the record shows it. He's looking at a 2nd and 20. The crosser is there, and another drop in and out of the hands of Jermaine Gresham.
And the young rookie, they always say make the catch before you go to run. And what happens here, Gresham wants to run before he's made the catch. He doesn't look the football in, and whether you're playing youth football, high school football, or in the National Football League, you have to look the ball in. Too many drops early on for the Cincinnati Bengals.
A 3rd and very long. Make it 20. Saints secondary, they're playing a very deep 3 deep. Can't even see the safeties. They'll get the crosser. Now they've just got to come up and make a tackle. And the defense is off the field, and it's that simple. That's Jordan Shipley, the 3rd round pick out of Texas, taken down by Tracy Porter.
And they're staying on the field.
That's right. Cincinnati will, why not, like 2 and 9.
You got a kicker you just brought in on Monday. He was working real estate last week.
Talking about Clint Stitzer. Brought in the rookie free agent from Fresno State, their 3rd kicker this year, 2nd rookie. Cincinnati, the best in the NFL on 4th down. It's complete. And it's a 1st down. That's Brian Leonard. And Leonard will move the chains.
A really nice job by Carson Palmer. John Vilma checked the Saints into a 2 deep coverage. The corners are going to be pressed. The hole in that zone is going to be in here, and Brian Leonard finds it. Carson Palmer gives it to him and says, you got to go get the 1st down for me, and that's exactly what Brian Leonard does.
Well, let's check and see. They're going to measure now. Our line, our Fox line, that is an estimate. That is not the official measurement. It looked like he clearly got it, but there's the red line. Yeah, he did get it. We just want to make sure. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to drive Greg Williams crazy. You got a 4th down, considerable down in distance. You get the check down, John. Coaches have told us all of our careers playing, I'll just come up and make a tackle.
Come up and make the tackle, and you got to make it before they get to that 1st down. That's what that defense is built for. Make them check it down. The Saints didn't get there quick enough.
So they've converted a 3rd and long and a 4th and 12 on this drive to keep it alive. You can see the drive up there in the top left. Owen sets up short, blocks backside. Scott inside, almost got through again. A pickup before. John, is there anything wrong with Benson now? We saw Benson early. All of a sudden, we haven't seen him.
I don't know. We're checking on that right now, but whatever it is, it's working with Bernard Scott, and it starts with the line up front. They're getting great push. You get 4 yards on 1st down, that's a win.
And that will be the end of the 1st quarter here in Cincinnati. The Saints up 3-0. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local Fox station. Back here in Cincinnati, the Bengals now have converted on a long 3rd and 4, a long 3rd down and a 4th down to keep the drive alive. We were just talking about Benson. I guess he heard us. He's back in the game. Second and 7 carry. That will be Benson, and Benson very close to a Bengals first down, brought down by Danny Clark.
You know, and always a great motivator when the other guy, your backup's running pretty well. It gets you running hard. But again, it's starting up front. Let's watch Bobby Williams, the right guard, as they shift down. He comes down on that double, and there's the push. There's the hole. Dennis Rowland, the right tackle. They get the push out there. The block down on the double, and there's a big hole for Cedric Benson. This offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals doing a nice job winning the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 1. Benson looking to bounce it. Heads north. Let's see if he got it. Very close. Vilma is there for the tackle. Late markers go down, 2 of them. Very late.
Illegal formation offense. Number 73 was on the end of the line and did not report. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And John, I was just about to say the Bengals have been switching offensive linemen. Anthony Collins there gets called, but he along with Mathis, they've been going in and out. That time Collins did not report.
Well, they've got a bunch of free agents on this team, and you're 2-9. You want to see a lot of young players, and Anthony Collins is one of those players, just as Bernard Scott, the running back who we've seen a lot of, and so expect to see a lot of players, particularly young players, on the field for the Cincinnati Bengals today.
3rd down after the penalty, a 3rd and call it 5. The hot one to Owens. Owens lowering his shoulder, trying to get the first down yardage. But Tracy Porter is there, holding it to about 3. Porter along with Malcolm Jenkins.
You watch Carson Palmer. We've been talking about Drew Brees under duress. Well, Jonathan Vilma is going to give Carson Palmer a little love tap and let him know, hey, we're here too.
So the first kick as a Bengal for Clint Stitzer, as my partner said, was selling real estate on Monday, was in Cincinnati on Wednesday. 29 yards out, he puts it through. So a nice looking drive, some gutsy calls. They tie it up here in the 2nd quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars side by side at Autotrader.com. And by Prilosec OTC. Heartburn gone, power on.
Tie score here in Cincinnati. Mentioned Clint Stitzer just signed on Tuesday. He replaces Aaron Petrie. Petrie was 2 of 4, missed a 27-yarder last week, and the coaching staff said, see ya. Mike Nugent, the original kicker, injured his knee on an onside kick attempt early in November. He is gone for the season. So the kicker merry-go-round continuing here. 13-play drive, 42 yards. And 3 points. There's Heath Evans. He takes it up front, one of the short men, and he'll get it out to about the 33-yard line. Ron Pitts, John Lynch. Yes, now I've got the gloves on.
Partner's
here.
gone soft on us. Get your old DB gloves.
That's right. You know, both teams talked about starting fast, and I think Cincinnati finally has been able to match that.
Yeah, and I think this is a win thus far for the Bengals. Now, what they need to do, they're controlling the game and really controlling the line of scrimmage. They've got to take advantage of it. Stop with the drops, and you'd be ahead as the Bengals. And Drew Brees, I expect them to go up-tempo here to try to get some rhythm established for this offense.
Chris Ivory checks in at the back. And that's a hot one outside to Lance Moore, and Moore is pushed out of bounds. Oh, he'll be about 3 yards shy of the first.
Having played against Sean Payton as a play caller, whenever they're struggling, it's tempo that they go to because that's their hallmark, and that's how they establish rhythm. Right there, an easy throw, get a little rhythm to Drew Brees, help out your offensive line that's been struggling to protect Drew Brees.
The old flip 90 play outside, and the speed there of a very hard-running Chris Ivory, the rookie free agent out of Tiffin. And one thing that Sean Payton told us last night, he said, my goal and our goal offensively is to blitz the defense. And John, we said, what does that mean? He said, I want to create as much stress and indecision for the defense as I can.
And the way they do that is by the tempo they play with, the shifts and motions, and the shots they take. It's constant pressure when you're playing this offense, and that's exactly the way Drew Brees and Sean Payton want it.
Streif lines up at tight end, but there's a breakout, and that will be a touchdown. That's Ivory, his 4th touchdown of the year, 55 yards.
Well, how's that for tempo? They came out and established some tempo there. Great job by the Saints really claiming this game. And look at the middle, the push. Jari Evans comes around, and he's just uncontested. He goes untouched. That can't happen with the defense. Chris Ivory takes advantage of it. Very nice drive. Finished by a great run by Chris Ivory.
Ivory, the leading rusher, and you watch him run on film, John. He brings a load now. You saw some speed there, but he can lower his shoulder and run you over. Extra point, clean, no flags. Talking about creating as much stress and indecision for a defense, that won't help the Bengals' stress level. You see the scoring drive there and a touchdown by Ivory. Ivory, the most rushing yards by a first-year player in the NFL this year.
That's been a problem for the Cincinnati Bengals, the explosive runs. They've allowed one run of at least 20 yards in each of their 11 games. You can't win football games when you can't stop the run.
Bernard Scott, Juan Cosby back deep. A low driver at the 4, Bernard Scott. Scott's got some room. Scott across the 40, still on his feet, out to the 45-yard line. Let's go back to that touchdown by Ivory.
Well, you see this, the Bengals are going to bring pressure from here, but watch Chinedum Ndukwe, the free safety. Your job as a free safety is to pick up the trash. I love playing aggressive, but you have to play smart. He gives himself up. Now, someone's supposed to be there in the case that it does break the initial surge, and no one's there for the Cincinnati Bengals. Not good defense. And the Saints are too good of an offense. When you give them something like that, they will take advantage of it.
41 yards on the return by Scott. They'll throw it, pump and go, going deep. He's got a man. That's T.O. And a flag is thrown. They're going to say that Porter never turned to play the ball.
Well, one thing Carson Palmer told us when we visited with him the other day as you watched Terrell Owens run a go, he said he still can run by anybody in this league. And Tracy Porter's got speed, and he runs right by him. And Tracy Porter,
defense, number 22.
Tracy Porter just panics. You got to turn and you got to locate the football. And Tracy Porter doesn't do that here in the end result. Is a big play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Boy, John, if Palmer can throw that ball right and over T.O.'s shoulder, that's an easy touchdown. Ends up being a 45-yard penalty. Two tight end formation for the Bengals. Just got Benson the ball, and Benson goes down. He'll lose yards. Roman Harper with a nice play. A loss of 4.
And that, to me, is playing into the New Orleans Saints hands. This is a speed defense, as we've illustrated. They said we're going to go downhill. That's not downhill. That's running sideways. And when you run sideways on a fast defense, bad things happen. And Roman Harper shows you what bad things are.
John,
negative plays.
I don't know if you saw there inside, Remy Adele grabbed an offensive lineman. Those linemen will do that to keep him off the backer so the backers can go help make plays. 2nd and goal. Benson looking cutback. Doesn't quite get what he wanted. A good job of staying disciplined on the backside there was Tracy Porter, a pickup of 4.
And that's a little more downhill. Now all of a sudden you put yourself in a 3rd down and 10 situation, though. Down in the red zone, that's really tough. Tight windows here. You got to be careful to at least get some points on the board. Talk about downhill. Watch Cedric Benson finish this run on Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah, that's more, excuse me, that's Jenkins there that stayed disciplined on the backside there with the tackle. 3rd and goal. Throw inside to Owens is caught. He'll take it down to the 5. A pickup of 5. Owens having a nice year statistically, as the Bluebirds will let it be known they'll send on the field goal unit.
Well, even if they get the points, you think about missed opportunities. As you said, if Carson Palmer throws that ball on the money, they've got a touchdown. And then second of all, you run sideways and you get negative plays and you put yourself in a field goal situation.
23 yards out for Stitzer. So the rookie has been the only points here for the Bengals thus far. He just got in town, but paying off. 4-point game.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Gulliver's Travels. Christmas only in theaters.
So the scoring drive set up by the 41-yard kickoff return by Scott and the long penalty for pass interference on Porter. They weren't able to put it into the end zone, but they were able to get at least 3 out of it.
I think, Ronnie, when you're playing the defending Super Bowl champs, you can't kick field goals. You got to score touchdowns. Twice inside the 10, 2 field goals for the Bengals.
This is Courtney Roby. Roby hit hard at about the 24-yard line by Tom. I'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching on the Armed Forces Network. And the players wanted to say thank you.
To all the troops overseas, we're playing this game for you. We love you. Everybody over in Afghanistan, all the troops, want to thank you guys for everything you do. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. We sincerely appreciate everything y'all do. And to all the troops serving our country, and say thank you. God bless.
Boy, that is spectacular. Thank you from all of us here at Fox to our men and women around the globe, protecting our freedom every minute, every second of the day. 1st and 10 play action. Brees hit as he throws. He had time, and then time ended. And Mauluga almost got his hands on it.
One of the things the Cincinnati Bengals are being able to do, Drew Brees loves to step up in the pocket. He's very proficient at doing that. Today, he can't step up in the pocket because there's pressure coming up the middle. He's been under duress all day. Last drive, Sean Payton went to quicker throws, and that may be what they have to do until they get these protection issues worked out.
Michael Johnson and Pat Sims there applying the pressure. 2nd and 10. Fake the end around. They give inside the Bush, and Bush is blasted. John, that's a little USC on USC there. That's Ray Mauluga going against Bush. They'll call it a pickup of 1.
And I'm sure they had those battles on the practice field out there in Los Angeles. Ray Mauluga, a very impressive linebacker. Hasn't figured out the entire game, but when he goes downhill, when he sees something and goes attacks it, he does it as well as anybody in this league at that position.
And he's got the long hair, which is a requirement to play on this defense. Pressure again. Brees got it away, but it's short of the 1st down. He got it to Lance Moore. I don't know how he did, John, but they'll be about 2 yards shy, and they'll have to punt it away.
And again, it's heat up the middle. He likes that pocket. The pocket's not been there. Great push by the interior of the Cincinnati Bengals. Doesn't allow Drew Brees to step up in that pocket, and the result, they get off the field on 3rd down.
So Cosby will go back deep. You see his first return today. Morstead with the best hang time in the NFL as markers fly.
False start, number 59 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's Anthony Waters. John, I mentioned the hang time by Morstead, and that's exactly what it sounds like. How long the ball hangs up in the air so your coverage team can get down and make a tackle. Hang time not real good on that one, but good enough to force a fair catch at the 35-yard line. 33 yards on the punt. All right, field position fairly solid for the Bengals. Ball spotted at the 34-yard line. Benson will be at the halfback spot. Quick throw inside. T.O. has it. Almost broke it. Wrestled down by Porter, but a good gain on first down.
And that is something that this Bengals offense has been missing throughout the entire year, is a timing and explosion. This is a quick pass, but Terrell Owens in the open field, you watch him in the slot. Quick slant, Carson Palmer on the money with the throw. The Bengals go up tempo.
Right back on the ball. Listen to the audible. They'll try the right side with Benson. John, we just saw T.O., the leading receiver on the team, will turn 37 years old on Thursday, second in the NFL in receiving yards next to Brandon Lloyd, and second in the AFC in catches next to Reggie Wayne. Came into this game needing 86 yards to join two Hall of Famers, or one Hall of Famer, Jerry Rice, and potentially another Randy Moss, for 10 1,000-yard seasons. 2nd and 8. Throw outside. That's the go-to man at the slot position. That's Jordan Shipley, 3rd-round pick out of Texas.
You talk about Terrell Owens, you mentioned the age, but look at this company with Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. Just phenomenal what he's been able to do. And I got to tell you, you can agree with his antics or not agree with his antics, what he does to teams, but you cannot argue with this guy's production. He has always been a productive player. He's kept himself in great shape, and we've seen his explosiveness already here today.
38 yards away. We're going over that 1,000-yard mark. 3rd and 2. Loose ball. It's a fumble. And I believe the Bengals got it back. Yes, they did.
That's something that Cedric Benson has struggled with this year. He's fumbled the ball 5 times, been recovered 4 times. You can't do that as a running back. John Vilma shooting into the backfield. And the ball comes loose.
That's
and
a
Cedric
clean
Benson,
fumble.
you got to hold on to the football.
Andrew Whitworth picked it up, and on the flip side, John, last week against the Cowboys, the Saints forced 4 fumbles. They would have liked to have gotten more of them, but they were able to get around the ball. That is another trademark of a Greg Williams defense. And a timeout is called by Cincinnati as they talk things over, as they push toward the red area.
And Ronnie, you talked about they didn't get many last week, but they did get the one big one, and that's the play that Malcolm Jenkins made. And, you know, last night I thought it was a cover 2 he was playing. He said he made a terrible angle. He was supposed to be in the middle of the field, and he knew he better make up for it. Malcolm Jenkins made the play of the year for the New Orleans Saints. Greg Williams told us last year about the then rookie Malcolm Jenkins, who wasn't even playing on the defense. John, this guy is heavy-handed. He's got a knack. It's like a boxer with heavy hands. There you go, the definition. Strong hands that lead to turnovers. Malcolm Jenkins has them.
Jenkins, a former Ohio State product, 1st-round pick last year out of Ohio State. The NFC Defensive Player of the Week as a result of that big play. 4th and 1. It's caught and then some. That's the tight end Gresham, and Gresham getting it down inside the 15-yard line.
Well, that will make that double root canal that Jermaine Gresham got the other day feel a little better. You're going to watch Gresham. He's going to go a little angle route. Carson Palmer trusts his young rookie and delivers a strike on a big fourth down conversion for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, he beat Harper there outside. Ball spotted at the 14. A quick throw to Owens, and Owens is down to the 6. Covered by Greer.
Ronnie, you can feel the rhythm that Carson Palmer is starting to develop. Early on in the game, he was a little off with his throws. His accuracy is starting to come. And these short, quick throws have gotten that rhythm going for him.
Speaking of rhythm, 8 consecutive completions now for Carson Palmer.
Here we go. They've been down here before. They've come out with 6 points. To beat the defending world champs, you've got to score touchdowns.
Ocho Cinco to the bottom. Owens up top, Shipley in the slot. Going up for Owens. Incomplete. Nice play there by Tracy Porter. It would have been a circus grab.
That's a ball. If you're Carson Palmer, you got to give Terrell Owens outside here more of a chance. He's a big, tall guy that can go up, and he underthrows it. Put it up there to the outside where he doesn't have to reach over Porter, but he can go up above his head, and you've got a touchdown there.
You see the way Porter got his arm in between Owens' arms, preventing T.O. from pulling the ball in. They'll go with Big Dan Scuda, a linebacker at the fullback spot. 3rd and 2. Scooter will lead. Benson down to the 4. Hargrove with the tackle.
And again, I think you're going sideways too much. You're doing a good job of owning the line of scrimmage, and you run a stretch play to the outside. You need to get downhill. Gonna watch Cedric Benson go sideways. The hole's right there, Cedric. Turn the ball downhill, and you've got a first down, not a measurement.
They are going to measure. As you look at Marvin Lewis, he says this team has left way too many big plays on the field, and we've given up too many. Inches.
I want you just to look at this hole right about there. He goes downhill, and you've got a first down. The Bengals have been very proficient this year, now in 10 of 11 on 4th down and 1. So it's something they've been very good at, but you better go downhill if you're going to get this.
And John, they bring in Domata Peko, the starting defensive tackle. He'll most likely line up at the fullback spot. Just look at the hair if you want to locate him. There he is. Downhill and stuffed. Greg Williams is fired up, and you could hear the shot all the way up here in the announce booth.
Yeah, and he should be fired up because the team challenged you downhill, just what the Bengals needed to do, but they out-executed it. Let's take a listen.
Boy, those are old John Lynch hits there.
But that's John Vilma right there, and John Vilma having an outstanding season. The leader of this defense, the heart and soul of this defense. He combines along with Roman Harper to make a huge 4th down stop.
The leading tackler brought in a trade with the Jets, just all a part of what Mickey Loomis has been able to do with this team. John, you touched on it earlier, along with Sean Payton. They have built talent all the way around. There's another hit. That's inside. Dahani Jones says, okay, Vilma, you're going to take a shot. I'll take one as well. Chris Ivory going head-to-head with Jones.
The missed opportunities for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now 3 times inside the 10-yard line. You come away with 6 points, not good enough.
They'll call it a pickup of 1. The half roll backside throw. That's the tight end Shockey. And Shockey gets jacked up right at the first down marker. Brandon Johnson is there along with a couple others. Shockey making his way back on the field here after a 2-game absence with bad ribs.
Plenty of time for the New Orleans Saints. You've got your 2-minute warning coming. You still have 2 timeouts. Plenty of time to put more points on the board before halftime.
So they will call it a first down. Pickup of 10 on the play. Saints back, but ball is loose. Loose ball, still loose. And it looks as though a Saint recovered it. Let's see though, that ball might change hands under there. And the officials say nope, second down. Saints retain possession. Boy, John, some solid shots in this cold weather. I think it even amplifies the sound more.
Sean Payton told us last night it was a concern in the cold weather. He didn't want his players wearing sleeves. Great hit by Gathers, and Ivory puts it on the ground, but it's the Saints who come up. Another missed opportunity for the Bengals.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
That was the 2-minute warning, 4-point game. Saints have the ball. We've got a second down and 9. Play action to Bush. Backdoor screen. That's the Jimmy Graham, the rookie. He'll have a first down, but we've got a marker down in the backfield. From the look on Drew's face, that one's coming back.
Holding, number 77, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
That's Carl Nix, the left guard.
But Ron, you start to see why Sean Payton and these Saints are so excited about Jimmy Graham, who just caught that screen. Sean Payton told us last night a strong statement. 5 years from now, he thinks we'll look back on Jimmy Graham as a top 5 player from this year's draft, and he wasn't taken until the 3rd round. They think they found another diamond in the rough in Jimmy Graham.
And another former basketball player. Didn't start playing football really until his final opportunity, final year at Miami.
Pretty good tight end out in San Diego who took that same path.
Yeah, a guy named Antonio Gates, and another one in Atlanta. Tony Gonzalez, 2nd and 18. Check down throw to Bush. Bush will head to the sideline to stop the clock. He'll be well short of the first down after the penalty yardage, but he does stop it, pushed out by Leon Hall. Coming up, it's the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will have all the scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker will keep you up to date on all the stats. Plus, an NFC East showdown. We'll talk about that. And can Green Bay rebound? I think they better get a running game if they want to talk about rebounding. They've never really replaced Ryan Grant. 3rd and 9. Brees holding that ball. And it's a completion and a first down. Robert Meacham. They'll mark his forward progress at about the 30-yard line as the Saints call timeout.
Timeout. New Orleans, their second.
And for the first time today, the Saints convert on a 3rd down. And why? Look at that right there. That pocket, that wall that they're building up front. It allows Drew Brees to step up. That's when he's at his best on 3rd down. And if you give the Saints some time, they're going to adjust. They're going to make their adjustments. Good job by the offensive line of giving him that space to step up. And when he has that time, he's too good. He's going to find the open guy every time.
Again, named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year earlier this week. The 57th recipient of the award. Amongst other things, Brees Foundation has worked with nearly 50 New Orleans schools and organizations to aid in the efforts that still linger, believe it or not, down in New Orleans from Hurricane Katrina. He has been so influential not only on the field but off the field as well, and was recognized for it. With one timeout apiece left for each team, another marker.
False start. Number 76, offense. Snap infraction. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You don't see that call too often. That's on Jonathan Goodwin, the center.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. Sean Payton at the halftime is going to be talking to his team about too many penalties. That's uncharacteristic for the New Orleans Saints.
First and 15 throw, and it's on the money to Jimmy Graham and out of bounds. John, that's textbook right there.
It really is. And Sean Payton last night when we sat down with him told him our job as an offense with the offensive line and the wide receivers paint the picture for Drew Brees perfectly, and Drew will make it right every time. As so long as we paint that picture, and you're seeing them on this drive and throughout the first half after they got off to a slow start, starting to paint that picture.
Looking for the seam, and he's got a man. That's Graham. Graham down to the 10-yard line. What a throw by Drew Brees. 52 yards.
You talk about painting a picture. This is a Picasso here. And when you give Drew Brees the time, and he's starting to get that time, he's going to make throws like that. And look at the accuracy of this throw right over the fingertips of Chinedum Ndukwe. And Jimmy Graham shows us just why Sean Payton is so high on him.
Reggie Nelson may have saved the touchdown. Throw backside, that's complete to Moore. Seems like everybody's open.
Take a look at this ball from the outlook at the safeties. Just a perfect ball. Sean Payton told us we're going after these safeties. We're going to attack the safeties, and they've been successful doing that thus far today.
Looked like the exact same play, went right back outside to Moore. I thought Nelson had a chance. I thought he was going to try to punch the ball out, kind of like Malcolm Jenkins did last week against Dallas. So the Saints can get a first down here. They've got 21 seconds left. They do have a timeout left. You can see it in the upper left-hand corner of our Fox box. The white light. Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
Pressure, throw, just a little wide, intended for Shockey. Ndukwe on the coverage. Pressure by Brandon Johnson. That'll bring up fourth down.
Mike Zimmer dials up the all-out blitz. It's going to leave a one-on-one. Drew Brees throws a catchable ball. Jeremy Shockey coming off being injured for a couple weeks, a little rusty. And the Saints now miss an opportunity inside the red zone.
This will be 24 yards out, a chip shot, but Saints fans say not this year for Hartley. He's missed a couple close ones. And this is one they need him to put through. So it puts the exclamation point on the nice drive. They'll go all the way down the field. Can't get 6, but they'll get 3, and they'll take the 3 in a tight game like this. And you talk about Drew Brees, how it started off in San Diego. Things didn't work out well there. Signs as a free agent. First year they go to the NFC Championship game. It's capped off by the Super Bowl and, of course, the double cap named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year.
You know, I've known Drew Brees for a long time, and I've competed against him, and things really just clicked when he came to New Orleans, because in San Diego he was a guy we respected, the league respected, but he wasn't an elite quarterback. He was a top 15, maybe even a top 10. This guy is a top 3 quarterback in the National Football League in my mind, and he's a transcendent guy. You talk about his work in the community. We saw him with the military message earlier in the game. This guy's gone on 5 USO trips in the last 5 years. I mean, he just is something that the NFL should be proud of. A lot of guys like him, but he represents this league as well as anyone.
Orchestrating another near perfect 11-play, 88-yard drive. Not perfect because it didn't end in the touchdown, but you'll take the points, and Hartley put the field goal through. 13 seconds left. That one taken short. Cosby will get it to midfield and maybe a yard or 2 more. So 8 seconds left. They've got a timeout, but John, maybe a shot at the end zone?
Well, I think you go for the field goal. You're going to have plenty of time. You get an intermediate. Now, you do have a new kicker in, but you get an intermediate route in the middle of the field. You've got one timeout. It's worth a shot.
That's
and I think probably a little more likelihood than getting it down to the end zone.
And I think by now they've got a little confidence in Stitzer. Remember, Stitzer just brought in the second rookie kicker they've brought in this year, 3rd overall that they brought in, and he's put 2 through, 1 from 29, 1 from 23. Bengals having some issues getting lined up. And they can't make it work. Ocho Cinco came out of the break late, or the ball was early, whichever you prefer. So now, John, that kind of hurts the theory of the shot inside and then call timeout and get a long field goal.
Yeah, and Carson Palmer had him. He missed that throw, and pressure does that to a quarterback. Roman Harper brought the pressure, but you have to be able to execute that throw. If you do, you're in field goal range.
So this will be the last play of the first half. Pressure, and the last play of the first half for the Bengals ends up in a sack. A good way for the Saints to end it as they go in up 13-6. Visa halftime report coming your way. Ron Pitts, John Lynch back here in Cincinnati, ready to start the second half. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. And John, it's been about missed opportunities for the Cincinnati Bengals thus far.
And really, it's really emblematic of their entire year. You look at the big 4th down conversion there, but then you can't punch it in the end zone. And against a team like the Saints, you have to score touchdowns. Right there, a perfect opportunity. Carson Palmer is a little short on the throw to Terrell Owens. They run sideways there. They have another opportunity, and he's a little off with the throw. You look at Carson's numbers on the big 4th down stop by John Vilma. He's 11 of 17 for 103 yards, but the critical plays, he's just a little bit off, and that's been the Bengals this year.
And John, on the flip side of that, I think Cincinnati is still hanging around, though. I mean, you're talking about 13-6 game. If you're New Orleans, you can't say, well, we put these guys away. No, you haven't.
Yeah, if you want to be champs again, you got to be able to bury people. And the Saints haven't been all there. They're usually a great 3rd down team. The Bengals have stopped them some on 3rd down. You've got to put that dagger in these Bengals, or they're hanging around at home and have an opportunity here late.
So Stitzer will get us going here in the second half. Very short kick. That's taken by Evans. Evans will put his head down and get out to about the 35-yard line. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, the snow is held off for us here. Still got the gloves going, but yeah, this is the type of game. Both teams wanted to come out fast, but as I said, Bengals hanging around. It may not be the game they wanted to play, but not a bad showing against the defending Super Bowl champs thus far.
They're doing a lot of things well, but you have to take advantage of opportunities. And the Saints, you got to get going. You got to take over this game. You got to stop the penalties. Penalties have been their big issue, and I'm sure Sean Payton talked to him about that at halftime.
The check down to Jones. Jones taken down quickly at about the 30-yard line. Roy Williams, a former Cowboy, on the tackle as you look at the first half numbers.
You see the first half stats, and the red zone for both teams was not a good area for the defense, but the red zone offenses have not been good today.
And John, that's an area where the Saints have struggled, believe it or not. Ranked 25th in touchdown percentage once they get into the red zone. Chris Ivory already with a big touchdown run today. Look at Ivory. This is what we meant when he said this kid will put his head down and move the pile. He is a pounder at 6 foot 222. Not the biggest running back out there, but he runs like he is.
Well, this is a guy you want late in the year when it's cold out. People aren't so sure about one to hit. Look at those legs like pistons. He never stops. Looks like an old Roger Craig or Walter Payton run. That's good stuff and a good way for the Saints to start off this second half.
Started off at Washington State, transferred out to Tiffin, played only 1 year there as he gets the call again.
Sean Payton told us about Ivory. He said, I love this guy. You're going to see the hard running, but the thing people don't know is this guy's got the speed to break it. What we see in the first half, a 55-yard touchdown and another diamond in the rough. We talked about Mickey Loomis, just Lance Moore. I mean, free agents coming out of nowhere for these guys. You look at them, Lance Moore, Colston, Ivory, Pierre Thomas, some really good players that they keep finding in New Orleans.
They just keep reloading them. 2nd and 6, half roll. Man is wide open on the corner. He takes a shot. That's Colston. But Colston will secure the catch and the first down. He took a hit by Reggie Nelson, a pickup of 19 yards.
Well, almost on cue, a former 7th-round draft pick in the 2006 draft, but he has not played like a 2006 7th-round draft pick. And as you see, Colston and Brees take big licks, but a big gain for the New Orleans Saints.
Colston with 6 catches for 105 yards last week against the Cowboys. The same type of play. That's another thing I've noticed that Sean Payton is not afraid to do. If something works, he will go right back to it again and make you stop it. That's good to Jimmy Graham.
And there is nobody better in this league than Drew Brees in terms of working the pocket. If there's a little hole up in front of him, he's going to find it. He's going to step up, step to the side, and give his receivers time to get open, and that's exactly what he does right there.
2nd and 1. They'll keep Streif at the tight end spot. Straight ahead call to Ivory, and he gets stacked up. Geno Atkins is there along with a couple others. Pickup of 2. Saints on the board with 2 field goals from Hartley, 48 yards and 24 yards, and a big 55-yard touchdown run by Chris Ivory. The Bengals have not been able to put the ball into the end zone. Thank goodness for their rookie free agent kicker who they just signed to put in 2 field goals from him. And a marker goes down.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
You saw that action going on in the huddle.
Lingering.
The Saints will substitute about as much as anybody in this league, and Sean Payton told us last night we do not signal personnel in an attempt to put a little indecision in the other team's head. Well, sometimes you put a little indecision in your own team's head, and another penalty for the Saints.
The give to Bush. Bush around the corner, lowers his head. Another marker is down. No, this could be coming back. A nice run by Bush, but Jaree Evans may get called for a hold.
Holding 73 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
We mentioned earlier he leads the NFL, and that's something you want to lead the NFL in. He leads the NFL in holding penalties, now is 8th on the year. When you get those hands outside, you see that hand on the right shoulder pad of Brandon Johnson. They're going to call it every time.
Here's one of those formations, John. Reggie Bush is up top. Henderson is in the slot. And that's Shockey, the tight end right there. Dave Thomas setting up the block. The throw outside. That's complete to Lance Moore. That's working on Leon Hall. John, it just seems like they've got so many places to go with the football every play. What do you run against an offense like this?
Well, Sean Payton told us last night, this is an equal opportunity offense. Everyone's going to get their throws. And they game plan so well in that Lance Moore from week to week knows this is where I'm going to be a part of the game plan, and it just works beautifully. And it leaves a lot of defensive coordinators like Mike Zimmer up at night trying to answer that question.
What a catch by Shockey. One-handed grab. They'll mark it for a first down as Shockey is inside the 5-yard line.
I mean, how many teams in this league would love to have either a Jeremy Shockey or a Jimmy Graham? They've got both of them along with Dave Thomas. And Drew Brees throws these kind of balls that are just fingertips away from defenders better than anybody in this league.
See the number there on Shockey. Ivory straight ahead. Is he in? No call from the official yet. No, they're going to mark him at the inch line. He reached the ball across, but apparently his knee was down.
They're going to go up tempo, get to the line of scrimmage right away as you watch hard downhill running by Chris Ivory.
They'll go Ivory again, and it's a touchdown for the Saints. His second of the day.
That's something that Sean Payton really wanted to improve upon. They came into today's game the 25th ranked red zone offense team. They've been down there more than anyone, but haven't been very efficient. And that's a way to be very efficient, to run the ball right down someone's throat like Chris Ivory does.
And on the flip side there, John, the Saints ranked 24th in the NFL rushing. Haven't exactly been able to light it up, I'm sure, like they want to. As you look at the extra point, that's clean. They have gotten back on track in that regard. 26 Saints.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By GMC, it's the GMC holiday event. Get the job done right this season with a GMC Sierra. And by Pizza Hut, your favorite plays deserve your favorite pizza. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut.
11 plays, 66 yards, capped off 1-yard plunge by Ivory. Ivory has put his head down and run hard all game long. He's already got a 55-yard touchdown to match that one. Doing it on the ground. Brees is doing it through the air. They look like Super Bowl champions. You can hear the audio, let it go, because you get a penalty and you'll get a mark off.
Kicking team, ball will be placed at the 40-yard line, first down.
Saints in full form, doing it on the road here in the third quarter. (20-6) game here in Cincinnati. 9:06 to play in the third quarter. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, and about 29 degrees outside. Light snow flurries. Hasn't seemed to bother the New Orleans Saints, though. They've been able to move the ball up and down the field and hit hard on defense. Play action. Quick one. Not much. A nice tackle in the open field on Benson by Danny Clark.
I think that's one thing we've seen today, Ron. When you've got a good defense, you're good tacklers. And in open field and close quarters, Danny Clark just shows you that's representative of the kind of tackling that goes on by defensive coordinator Greg Williams' defense in New Orleans.
Pick up of 3, 2nd and 7. 8 men in the box for the Saints. They think they're going to get run. And they get run. Benson to midfield. See how they mark it. Maybe a first down. Harper is there for the tackle.
And a nice job by Carson Palmer. We heard the audible. What he's doing, he's running away from the support. Roman Harper, the strong safety, shows up to the Bengals' left. So what do? You run to the right, and you gain positive yards, and you set up a 3rd down and 1. Excuse me, it looks like they gave him that first down.
They did. It was close, but they gave them the first down. So ball at midfield now for the Bengals. Back to the ground. Benson again. Ellis is there. A marker down in the backfield.
Holding, 64 offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
They call that on the center, Kyle Cook. Sean, on paper, it looked like a great idea. Bring in Terrell Owens to go up against Ocho Cinco on the other side. You got the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You would think a team that won the division, went to the playoffs at 10-6 last year, it would be an upgrade, but it has gone backwards as the Saints come into this game struggling at 2-9. Excuse me, the Bengals come into this game struggling at 2-9. The check down. Benson getting back some of the penalty yardage as he crosses midfield.
Ron, I want to hit on that point because you look at the Bengals, not only do they appear to be, they are a more talented football team on offense. The problem is, as I said in the open, they lost who they were. And I think back to a lot of teams are examples of this. You think back to that Super Bowl team for the Baltimore Ravens. The next year, Trent Dilfer was the quarterback, a game manager. What'd they do? They tried to go get Elvis Gerback, who had thrown for 4,000 yards. Yards don't matter. Wins and losses do. And we'll carry on that conversation after this play.
Some good points there with my partner, John Lynch. 2 tight end set. 2nd and 9. Time to throw. Can't hook up. Intended inside for the back out of the backfield. That's Brian Leonard.
And I personally experienced that, and we did down in Tampa. We won a Super Bowl 37, and we did it with a great defense. All of a sudden, the powers that be say, hey, we want to win one on offense. They start jettisoning all these defensive players, and it's taken the Buccaneers till this year to get back in playoff contention.
That's right.
The Bengals were a great running football team. They didn't throw well enough, but you can add to the talent, but you can't get away from who you are, and I think that's what they've done this year.
3rd and 9. He's got Ocho Cinco on the crosser. No time to throw. Finds him late. There goes Ocho Cinco. And he's out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Pushed out by Greer along with Sharper. Nice ad-lib staying alive there by Palmer.
Well, exactly. He's going to pull a Drew Brees intimidation, moving within that pocket, buying time, and Chad Ochocinco eventually comes free. A beautiful job by Carson Palmer of extending the play. Nice job by his line, and great job by Ochocinco finding the open seam in that zone. Good conversion by the Bengals.
33 yards, the first catch of the day by Ochocinco. They'll go with the draw after the big completion. Some nice moves there by Benson as he works inside the 10-yard line. Brought down by Greer. He'll pick up about 5.
They talked about running downhill against a fast defense, and that's exactly what they do. And Cedric Benson, so long as he holds on to the football, this guy's a good back. They're going to have to make a decision. He's a free agent after this year as to whether he's the future or not here in Cincinnati.
And Benson has had his issues off the field. Those started up in Chicago. Got new life here, going over 1,000 yards last year. 2nd and 3. He trips just in front of the line of scrimmage, maybe 1 on the play. Bengals on that prior play using Reggie Kelly there. They do that a lot, a tight end in the backfield as a fullback. Marvin Lewis, another Bengal without a contract for next year. His status here in Cincinnati is up in the air. 3rd and 3.
Here you are on a big 3rd down inside the 10 again. We'll see if they can get a touchdown on the board. That's what they need.
They might have a man-to-man up top with Ochocinco. Nope, they'll hand it off instead. That's Leonard. Leonard will have the 1st down. A nice job of Leonard picking his way, knowing exactly where the 1st down marker is.
That's really good job by Brian Leonard. Sometimes the play's not always going to be there, and you got to make things happen. Little penetration, but then Leonard with nice running finds the open seam and gets that 1st down.
Bengals will check in with extra offensive linemen. They'll call it 1st and goal. Tio and Ocho. They'll be on opposite sides of each other. Play action. Looking for Owens, and he's got it. Touchdown, Bengals.
You watch Terrell Owens working from one side of the formation all the way across to the other side. Carson Palmer does a nice job of again moving, extending the play, and delivering a strike to Terrell Owens.
Ninth touchdown of the year for Owens. His numbers have been solid all year long. Movement on the right side. Owens, John, has been playing with a broken hand. I don't know that many people know that.
Told us that out at practice the other day.
Encroachment. Defense number 69. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Jeff Triplett's mouth freezing up there. I've been there, Jeff.
A one and done for Owens up in Buffalo last year. A lot of people question whether or not he would even hook on with a contender. Stitzer going to the right, and he missed it. Clint Stitzer, just brought in this week, had been fine with 2 field goals from 29 and 23, but blows the extra point. 2012 Saints.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty.
9 plays, 60 yards, capped off 5-yard touchdown catch by that man.
He hears everything. Been catching everything for a long time, too.
The only bad part about that is a mixed extra point by Stitzer. Ocho Cinco with a key 33-yard grab in that drive. Roby trying to get outside, stacked up at the 22. So the Bengals answer. The rookie free agent lets them down on the extra point. John, I think a key answer there by Cincinnati, first drive of the second half, they go right down the field and put points on the board.
Didn't look like a 2-9 football team right there, and that's the potential, and I think that's what leaves everyone so frustrated. They've got the ability on this team. They were just there last year. They haven't made plays this year. That drive they did.
So Saints will take over, ball at the 23-yard line. The screen, Bengals are all over it. Doma Peko. I told you at the beginning of the game to watch his energy. He's all over the field. That's a loss of 9 yards.
And this might make Sean Payton. You look at what they did coming out of the half. They pounded the football on these Cincinnati Bengals. And it was Chris Ivory doing the pounding. Look at those legs going. They're going downhill running, and they capped it off with a 1-yard touchdown run by Chris Ivory. After that screen going for negative yardage, you see Sean Payton putting Ivory back in there and saying, help us out, buddy.
The crowd picks up here in Cincinnati. They'll try the left side, and guess who again? Peko once again. Peko, 4th round pick back in '06 out of Michigan State.
Ron, Doma Peko's really played at a high level. When you're a 2-9 football team, you don't get a lot of praise for your play, but this is a guy who's consistently played at a very high level for these Cincinnati Bengals in the 2010 season.
3rd and 16. Going for Colston, it's intercepted. Reggie Nelson. Nelson will bring it all the way back up to the Saints' 46-yard line. That's his first interception of the year. So Brees with the interception. First Saints turnover today. The best starting field position for either team today. With a nice return from Nelson, they'll spot that ball at the Saints' 46-yard line.
You look at Drew Brees, the one question you could have about him this year is the increased interceptions. 11 all of last year, 16 in game 12 this year.
Play action, going up top. The crosser, nice catch by Ocho Cinco. That was definitely a money catch, ball behind him, and he picks up 20.
And that's the route that, frankly, you haven't seen. It's the old dig route. You're going to go about 15 to 18 yards and then cut it in. You see Chad Ocho Cinco working around Tracy Porter and demonstrating great body control. And really, that's where Carson Palmer had to put the ball. You had Jenkins driving. You had to put it on that back shoulder. Good execution by the Bengals.
Benson. Vilma is there for the tackle. A pickup of 3. For an update on Green Bay, let's go out to Los Angeles and check in with Kurt Menefee.
Packers in their throwback uniform. Key part of that phrase, throw. Aaron Rodgers. Replacing Brett Favre has thrown 3 touchdown passes, including 2 to Greg Jennings. It's 28-16. He scored a couple plays after that one. Ron and John?
Watch yourself, Kurt.
Well, you see that green and gold. The Packers at 7-4. A game behind the Bears at 8-3 in the North. Benson again. Boy, you can hear the pops. I think Vilma has a magnet to Benson's helmet.
Yeah. And there's a lot of popping going on in this football game, a physical football game. And the Bengals, you know, really 2 impressive drives. And this is where they need to just finish. This team in critical areas this year hasn't played well. Well, here's an opportunity on a 3rd down going in to really change your fortunes as a football team.
Time winding down here in the 3rd, 3rd and 4. Ocho Cinco has it. A catch, a marker goes down. They call it a catch. But let's check the flag. Jeff Triplett wants to talk it over. Boy, we've seen Ocho Cinco make those catches before.
Holding number 33 of the defense. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
They'll decline the penalty, take the yardage and the first down.
Let's watch this concentration by Chad Ocho Cinco. Watch him drag the feet, one-hand catch, and let's look at the feet. Great job by Chad Ocho Cinco, tremendous catch.
Watch the black rubber fly up from his right foot right there. That tells you he dotted the I, and that's what officials look for. So they will let the clock run, and that will be the end of the first quarter. The Saints up 20-12, but here come the Bengals. We'll be back after these messages. We start the 4th quarter here in a chilly Cincinnati. Ron Pitts, John Lynch. The Saints were up big. 2 touchdowns by Ivory, a long one of 55 yards, 2 field goals by Hartley. But then the Cincinnati Bengals came back. 2 field goals by Stitzer, a long drive and a touchdown by Owens, but Stitzer missed the extra point that could come back to haunt the Bengals. Pump and go. Inside. It's caught. That's Shipley. Shipley got crunched. Welcome to the NFL, son.
These last 2 drives, just a different Cincinnati Bengals offense. You feel the rhythm. You feel the energy. Impressive drives by Carson Palmer in this Bengals offense.
Shipley got 7 yards. Benson with a hole. Benson down to the 1-yard line. I believe that's good enough for a first.
We've talked about them controlling the line of scrimmage. Let's watch Whitworth, the left tackle, on a good double team down. They create that alley, and Cedric Benson gets down to the 1-yard line. We've talked about it all day. This offensive line doing a nice job winning the line of scrimmage by the Cincinnati Bengals.
First and goal, they'll bring big Domata Pekka in at fullback. They'll lead with him. Benson, he'll push it in. So just like that, the Cincinnati Bengals are back in this thing. They've come out here in the second half, John, put together 2 back-to-back drives, back-to-back scores. Now it looks like a different game. 7 plays, 46 yards out. And here's Stitzer. He missed last time out on the extra point. Cleans it up, puts it through. We've got a 1-point game here in Cincinnati.
And Ronnie, when you're running downhill, it's not always going to be easy. You got to keep those legs churning, and Cedric Benson does it.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150 and its 4 new engines. This is the future of truck. By Domino's, oh yes we did. And by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K.
And just like that, we've got a game here in Cincinnati, a 1-point game to be exact. You look at the scoring drive there. Back-to-back scores by the Bengals. And John, you made a good point during the break. All of a sudden, hey, Ocho Cinco is back into the mix.
Yeah, Ocho Cinco, Terrell Owens, and now you're starting to see maybe what people envisioned for this Bengals team. A good mix of run and those 2 stars outside making it happen.
Taken at the 5, Roby. Roby pours it inside. He's out to the 31-yard line. Welcome to the booth, Ron Pitts, John Lynch. Yes, we're a little bit cold. The guy that played in Green Bay. I've got an excuse. You really don't there from Tampa Bay, right? I expect you to be cold, huh?
It got cold, man. I tried. I had to put the gloves on, the winter coat.
Hey, John, we talk about this game now, and you mentioned it during the break. We were talking about the kicking situation. Should be a tie game. It's not because of the missed extra point by Stitzer. And the complaints were that why didn't the Bengals bring in a veteran kicker? They had a chance to bring in Chris Brown.
Yeah, and I can't explain that one. I mean, there's veteran kickers out there. They chose to go with the young guy who is unproven, and it's hurting them right now.
Check down throw to Jones. And, John, that's another good example of how Brees always knows where his guys are on the field. As you look at Stitzer there, and he checks that one down, avoiding the sack.
That's something Drew Brees does exceptionally well. And I talked to their quarterback coach, Joe Lombardi, and yes, he is the grandson of Vince Lombardi, before the game, and he talked about that's Drew's greatest asset. He knows where everybody is on this field, and it proves invaluable for him and the offense.
6 yards back to Ivory. Ivory, who's had a big day, and Ivory close to midfield.
Chris Ivory really just running outstanding. I watched this guy the last couple of games versus Seattle. Just a tough runner. He earns every yard he gets, but a great combination of speed and power. And Pierre Thomas goes down, and everyone's worried. Well, here's your answer. 100 yards already for Chris Ivory.
Play action. Going deep, wide open. Meacham. Touchdown, Saints. .52 yards, and John, can they make it look any easier?
You run the football, then you go the play action. Robert Meacham going to put a little double move on Jonathan Wade. A great, great route by Robert Meacham, and Drew Brees going to put it right on the money. Sean Payton told us last night we need to give Robert Meacham more opportunities down the field. There's your opportunity, and he cashes in.
The 5th touchdown of the year for Meacham, and he beat Wade, the native of Shreveport, Louisiana, the old dead leg. And he went for it, dog and all. Extra point is good. If you're going to beat the Super Bowl champs, you better play a full 60 minutes, and they can strike quick just like that. Fox Sports is proud to support St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, where they are doing wonderful work every day to help kids battle cancer. Please join us in the fight and donate now at stjude.org/Fox Sports. Every week we see the guys on the pregame show. They spend so much time there in the research efforts and the donation efforts there at St. Jude's Hospital. Please donate and keep that going for all of us. So after the quick strike, we've got a 27-19 game just like that. Bernard Scott with a decent return. He's out to the 41-yard line. And John, the second half has been all about Cincinnati up until that last big play by the Saints.
We talked the two big guns outside, woke up, and Carson Palmer really hitting stride. But Drew Brees is going to keep coming at you. They get an interception via Reggie Nelson there, and Cedric Benson with some tough running. The Saints keep coming right back at you, Ron Pitts.
That's right. The big bomb there. They beat Jonathan Wade, who was just signed 2 weeks ago. So they'll go back to their big play players. He's upended. That's T.O. hit hard by Jabari Greer.
And Ronnie, I think if you're the Bengals, you've been very good this second half on offense. You can't get discouraged by the big play of the Saints. You've got to just come back and answer. It's a one-score game. Yes, you missed the extra point. You need a touchdown, a two-point conversion. You got a tie ball game. Don't get discouraged. Just keep playing like you've been playing.
Pickup of 6 on that last play. That's Scott. Scott will be about 2 yards shy of the first down. For a Lions-Bears update, let's go to Los Angeles. Check in with Kurt.
Down for much of the day, the Bears come back and take the lead. Jay Cutler to the tight end Brandon Maliuna. 7-yard touchdown reception, making it a 24-20 Bears lead. Lions looking for their first division win since 2007. Ron, John?
John, what happened? The Bears got off to a hot start, then they stumbled. People said it's over. They won't recover, but they recovered.
Defense. They're playing some great defense in Chicago.
3rd and 1, play is stopped.
Timeout. Cincinnati, they're first.
Timeout called by the Bengals.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Windows 7.
A 3rd down and 1 coming up for the Bengals. Ball at midfield. Another marker.
False start. 62 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Boy, that looked a little strange now.
And Carson Palmer coming up, I think, to make the line calls.
Yeah.
And his offensive lineman jumps off. And just a mistake you can't have. You're 3rd and 1. Now you put yourself in a 3rd and 6.
That changes everything. That's Nate Livings, the left guard. Quick throw to Shipley. Shipley chopped down about 3 yards in front of the first down marker. So there you go. Before the penalty, that would have been enough for a first down. But after the penalty, he's shy. They will not go for it on 4th. They'll kick it away on 4th and 3.
Well, still a lot of football to be played. You got an 8-point game, 1-score game. You got to try to pin them back and trust your defense to get off the field.
Hubert putting it up, and it'll go out of bounds at about the 9-yard line. A marker is down at the 15-yard line, back up field, or I should say downfield. First punt of the second half by either team. Jeff Triplett discusses things here on the sideline. Here he comes with the call.
Too many men. Defense. The 5-yard penalty. The result in a first down.
Wow. Talk about a huge break. Too many men on the field on the special teams play for New Orleans. It results in a first down for the Bengals.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember, returners back here, and there's number 12. Good call by the officials.
And there's a look at the Saints special teams coach, Red McMahon. So new life for the Bengals here in the fourth quarter. We give to Scott. Bernard Scott inside the 30-yard line. Finally brought down by Roman Harper. Big pickup, 19 yards.
And Ronnie, you want to know why the Bengals are still in this game. 10 penalties for the defending Super Bowl champs. Very uncharacteristic of this team. And it's keeping the Bengals in this game. And the Bengals are taking advantage of it. Nice run by Bernard Scott.
They'll go right back to him, and he's hit hard. Nice play in the backfield there, right at the line of scrimmage by Will Smith. John, a big game, huge game for the Saints. Even though they are come in with a nice record of 8-3, they are a game behind the Atlanta Falcons, and it's more like a game and a half because the Falcons beat the Saints at home earlier this year.
Yeah, but they do have the Saints coming up, and one of the great ideas the NFL did this year is stacking all these division games late. The Saints have their entire division in front of them, as does much of the league. Going to make for some really interesting races down the stretch in December.
December 27th, they will play the Atlanta Falcons again in Atlanta. The long out throw, and it's caught for a first down. Ocho Cinco. The last time these two teams played in 2006 in New Orleans, Chad had 190 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns.
He's woken up in this second half. Chad Ochocinco pushing Tracy Porter and then showing great body control once again. Chad Ochocinco really playing well here in the second half for the Bengals.
Challenge flag thrown by Sean Payton. No.
It's obviously challenging whether the ball touched the ground prior to.
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
Ocho Cinco, 4 catches, 73 yards, all in the second half. Is this one good? We'll find out in just a second. Expert Ron Pitts, John Lynch back in Cincinnati. Right now we're going to bring in our official expert. That's Mike Pereira to give us his thoughts on that catch or no catch by Ocho Cinco. Mike.
You know, tough play. I think the ball actually goes through his arms before he has control. Doesn't control it with his hands. And then it appears to me that the point of the ball touches the ground. Tight play, but I really think you look at this, I think it's incomplete. I'm looking for a reversal here.
And Mike, what's the difference between that, what you just described, in the Bert Emanuel rule, as people refer to it?
Well, but when you had the Bert Emanuel play, he had the control with both hands and the ball hit the ground. This ball's actually sliding through his arms here, and that's really not the element of control. And I think the ball actually touches before he actually gets the ball back into his hands. So that's why I think, although they're looking at this for a lengthy time, I think it's actually, see, watch the ball slide through the arms there, and the tip of the ball hit the ground. I think that's the incomplete pass portion of it, because he has not established control first, and that's what they're looking at.
Might this be the Chad Ochocinco rule.
Here comes Jeff Triplett with an answer.
The pass goes between the arms of the receiver and hits the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down and 10 at the Cincinnati 29-yard line.
What are you this year?
46.
What are you this year, Mike? About 50 for 50? We never see.
No, maybe 49 out of 50. You know, Triplett, that was a makeup call because Triplett got me last week, so he's back in my good graces now.
Mike Pereira, former head of NFL officiating. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Once again, and you'll see Mike in our Super Bowl coverage this year. He'll be in the booth with the guys, Troy and Joel, giving his expert analysis from the officiating end there as well. So that resets at 3rd and 10 and erases the catch. Inside right back to Ochocinco. He takes a hit, but holds on to the ball.
He says, I'm not going to let you have any indecision on this one, Mike Pereira. I'm going to catch it clean. And you watch Chad Ochocinco. I got to talking before. This is the route you always used to see from Chad Ochocinco, the dig route. We haven't seen it as a big part of this offense this year. I asked him, and he said, that's exactly what I'm saying, John. And he's starting to really play some good football.
Timeout, Cincinnati. I thought Marvin Lewis was very straightforward this week when we talked to him. He said one of the key problems this year is that our good players have to play good. And I think without a doubt that talked about Chad Ochocinco and Terrell Owens, especially in big games.
Well, and he said, frankly, they haven't. They haven't made plays when the game's on the line. Today, we're seeing that in the 4th quarter. Now, you have to finish the deal. That's been a big problem for this Bengals team. And right now, though, their big guns are starting to play well, led by their quarterback, Carson Palmer.
We've seen that in the 2nd half. And Carson Palmer, as we've mentioned, he's battled a lot. No wonder it's a frustrating year. He's taken some shots, and the protection hasn't always been there, but he's been a soldier, hasn't complained. And now he's got a chance to get within one. First and goal throw out of the end zone. Palmer, nice job of just getting away from trouble there. A marker's down. Hold on. Marker down at the 4-yard line.
Prior to the pass, holding defense, number 41. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
That's Roman Harper.
And you see Carson Palmer again extending the play.
Reports as an eligible receiver.
Watch Roman Harper right here, and as you extend the play, you have to cover for a longer period of time, and Roman Harper does have those arms wrapped around the young rookie tight end Chase Kaufman.
First and goal run. Benson, he'll walk in.
Now here you've got to go for 2. I think you've got a kicker that I wouldn't trust at this point. And then nothing against Clint Stitzer, but from what I've seen, I wouldn't trust him. You got 8 minutes left, yes, but I think here's the point: you go for 2 and you take it out of the kicker's hands.
The fans here in Cincinnati screaming too. They were screaming it on the try before. This time they'll get it. Ochocinco up top. Owens in the slot. Caught the tight end Gresham. We're tied up. Eight plays, 59 yards. The touchdown by Benson and the 2-point play. Palmer to Gresham, and we are tied up. And we would like to welcome those of you watching the Chicago-Detroit game. We have got a tie game here in Cincinnati. The Saints started off hot. The Bengals came back in the second half. They got their weapons involved. We're talking Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, Carson Palmer has been great with the ad-libs, and they just tied it up. A very short kick taken on the run. That's Roby. And that's something that Sean Payton talked about last night. Short kicks take him on the run. But it's been all about the second half, really. This man here, Chris Ivory, 2 touchdowns, a long one of 55. But there's the weapons that got involved. And Owens in the missed extra point. The rookie free agent kicker brought in on Tuesday. He misses the easy one. Benson from 1 yard out. But then they just let one run free. That's Meekum for the touchdown. And the last 2-point conversion there. Palmer. And that's Bush. And Bush, no gain on the play. Palmer going to Gresham for the 2-point conversion.
Well, he made this, Reggie Bush made this catch a little more difficult than he needed to, but that's what Ray Malaluga, his former teammate at USC, will do to you.
Wow.
But great concentration by Reggie Bush pulling this in. And for the Saints offense, it's been Chris Ivory, a lot of Chris Ivory, over 100 yards, but also Drew Brees, 21 of 26, 266 yards, 1 interception, but he's been extremely accurate here today.
Jones going backward. The guy who's done it all day long, Domatop Peko, is right in the middle of it again. Just check the hair, and you know it's Peko.
Remember, the Saints came into this game as the top 3rd down offense in the National Football League. The Bengals have done a nice job, though, keeping them to just 2 of 6. You see the production. Terrell Owens having his 156th career touchdown. The Bengals been in that red zone a lot, but here it is right here. The Saints on a big 3rd down.
No place for Brees to go, and a sack. The 2nd-round pick out of Florida with his 5th sack of the year. That's Dunlap.
And it's Dunlap who finishes the deal. But let's look right there, Geno Atkins. Drew Brees loves to step up in the pocket. Geno Atkins pushes the pocket back. Drew Brees has to try to escape. And Carlos Dunlap, with his 4th sack in the last 4 games, delivers on the sack.
A loss of 15. Morstead will punt it away. Not a good punt. Cosby with a great return into Saint territory, and the place goes nuts. 18 yards on the return. A huge game for the New Orleans Saints. They are chasing the Atlanta Falcons. They've already lost to the Falcons. The Falcons with a 1.5-game lead. They'll see the Falcons second to last game of the season on a Monday night, but right now they've got to deal with the Cincinnati Bengals.
And Sean Payton, he did not overlook this Bengals team. He said this is a dangerous football team who's been in virtually every game they've played this season. Well, here they are, 27-27 with 6:03 left in the 4th quarter.
Play action throw, it's clean again, and it's been clean all second half, John. Ochocinco working on Tracy Porter.
Ochocinco's been winning that matchup in the second half. We watched Chad Ochocinco on Friday. He's been nursing a sore groin. He didn't practice on Friday, said he wanted to be fresh for Sunday. Well, in the first half, we didn't see or hear from him. The second half, he's come alive, and it's been really good for the Cincinnati Bengals offense.
5 catches, 96 yards for Ochocinco. Saints bring pressure. They go man-to-man on the outside and just overthrow Ochocinco.
See the big guns there, Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco. When they came together this year, T.O. being signed in the offseason, everyone thought this is going to be tough to deal with. They've been good in terms of production. It hasn't translated to wins. The Bengals are in position here. We'll see if they can finish against the defending Super Bowl champs.
The Bengals have lost 8 in a row. Nothing would make their season more than to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. They'll put it on the ground to Benson. Meanwhile, the Saints have won 4 straight. They are truly marching and have marched through the month of November. 5-1 in their last 6 games. A solid 4-1 on the road, John.
The Saints, you remember on Thanksgiving, everyone home on their couch watching. It was a great Malcolm Jenkins play at the end of the game that kept them alive, gave them life. Here's a big 3rd down.
Call it 3rd and 8. Ochocinco up top. Owens alone at the bottom of your screen. In route. Ochocinco. They had a miscommunication. Ochocinco ran the curl. Palmer threw it outside. 4th down. Now you've got a rookie kicker that just came in on Tuesday. He was selling real estate in Nevada. He got the phone call, almost didn't check his messages in time, put him on a plane, and now he's here kicking. He's made 2 field goals, you see, but he's missed a key extra point. This is 47 yards out. Cool as ice.
He says selling real estate's a little overrated. I think I like this kicking gig.
Who said the real estate market is bad these days? Apparently it's okay. For a quick update, let's go out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
A field goal making the difference in Miami as well. Cleveland picks off Chad Henne with just a minute left in a tied ball game. Mike Adams doing the deed, setting up a 23-yard game-winning field goal from Phil Dawson, and the Browns go into Miami, get the victory 13-10 in last-minute fashion. Ron and John?
Well, John, that's not the first time Cleveland has gone into an opponent's place that was supposed to be better than they were and got the victory. Ask the New Orleans Saints. They beat the Saints earlier in the year in New Orleans.
No doubt, Cleveland playing some really good football. And as you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, here we are with 4 minutes, 25 seconds left in the first lead of the game. But they're leading when they need to. At the end of the game, we'll see if they can hold off Drew Brees and this explosive New Orleans Saints offense.
The Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year for all of the accolades off the field. Right now, Saints fans want to see the accolades on the field. Short kick taken by Heath Evans. Evans out to the 32-yard line. Well, tonight on Fox, you will believe in an all-new Simpsons Christmas as Martha Stewart has the magic touch to save the season, plus a special gift with Katy Perry. It'll have everyone all dialed up. It's an all-new Simpsons Christmas tonight at 8, 7 Central. Right here on Fox. Bart on the drums. That's got to be special. The Bengals currently on a 24-7 run. I know it sounds like basketball, but that's 24 points to 7 to the Saints. Ivory in the backfield. He's got a 55-yard touchdown run. He's a strong runner inside. He'll take it down, maybe be about a yard shy of a first.
And frankly, Ron, I don't know where he was the last drive. They had Julius Jones. No disrespect to Julius Jones, but this guy has been the story today. Sean Payton recognized that, gets Chris Ivory back in the game, and you get good results right away.
Coming up after this game, some of you will see Tampa Bay and Atlanta, a key NFC South matchup. Others will see the Cowboys and the Colts. That's a first down by Ivory. Ivory, the local product, so to speak, went to Tiffin University here in Ohio. Coming back home, playing in front of the home folks. He's had some nice runs, but boy, it's on the line now.
And I think it speaks volumes, as you said, on the line, and they're giving the ball to a rookie free agent. This is a team that has Drew Brees as your quarterback, Colston and Reggie Bush, but it's Chris Ivory who they're leaning on when the game's the tightest.
Play action. Got a man going down the middle of the field. Meacham's got it. He's already scored on a long one today, and he's got another long one.
We mentioned it early. Sean Payton told us their corners are the strength of this team. We're going to go after the secondary and specifically the safeties, the hard play action, and you isolate Robert Meacham on a safety, it's a win all day long, and that's exactly what it is right there. When you get the split down there, you're going to put a wide receiver on the safety, and that's a mismatch, and the Saints take advantage of it.
He scored on a 52-yarder today. That one is 42 yards. Ball at the 15, a trip in the backfield. Ivory goes down. Coming up on the 2-minute warning. The big plays have been there all day for the Saints. And the Super Bowl MVP always sees his open man. A cool breeze is exactly what the Saints need right about now. 13 career fourth-quarter comebacks. And he's got his 36th career 300-yard game. 2nd and 12. The quick one to Moore. Maybe he got a yard hit hard by Jonathan Joseph. We'd like to welcome all of you watching the Redskins-Giants game. This game here has been outstanding. The Saints started off hot, but the Bengals came back in the second half, and they got their weapons involved. Talking about Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco, Carson Palmer has been solid. They've got a rookie kicker that they just brought in. He's already missed an extra point. Could be a factor. That's Bush. Bush around the corner, down to about the 7-yard line.
This is a huge game for these New Orleans Saints. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons ahead of them in the NFC South. But you look around the league, the New York Giants win today. Green Bay ahead. Chicago won. Everyone's not so lucky to play in that NFC West, and where 8-8 might get you in. And the Saints, a bold move here, going for it on 4th down.
4th down. The NFC South picture looks like this. The Atlanta Falcons are a game and a half up. They've already beaten the New Orleans Saints, beat the Saints at home earlier this year. Look at the remaining games. The Falcons now, beginning today, a 3-game road series. You can say, well, those teams are all beatable, but you know what? Whenever you go on the road, anything can happen.
No doubt about it. And Ronnie, I got to be frank with you. Sean Payton is a Super Bowl champion coach. I question this decision. I think you're a better football team than the Cincinnati Bengals. You go to overtime, that puts you in charge. I think that favors the Saints. And to go for it here on 4th down may work, I think, extremely risky.
Well, it's part of that, that moxie, that mojo, that swagger. They walk in with the trophy in their back pocket, said, hey, we're going to go for this thing.
And you see, they've been very proficient on 4th down this year. Just a big risk that Sean Payton and these Saints are taking.
5 of 9 on 4th. He tried to draw him off sides, and I think a Saint move.
Well, you know what, though? Was he drawn by
that's
Sims?
the question.
Sean Payton.
Sims moved first.
Sean Payton says, John Lynch, just hang with me. I'm just trying to draw him off sides, and he might have.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. Right defensive end. Half the distance to the goal. Results in a first down.
Let's watch him right there. Drew Brees goes with the hard count. And remember, a couple years ago, that would have been on the offense, but a couple years ago, they changed that rule. If the defense draws the offensive player to false start, it's on the defense. And great execution. Sean Payton, I'm sorry. Great move on your part.
First and goal. Going up top. It's an easy one to Colston.
Marvin Lewis said it. We haven't made the critical plays at the critical time. A costly penalty. You have a fourth down. They draw you off sides, and this is just a mismatch. You're going to give that much room. Drew Brees is going to say, thank you very much, Jonathan Joseph. Marcus Colston makes good upon a great throw from a great quarterback.
Joseph doesn't even make it close, and methodically, the Saints go down the field, get stalled, go with the hard count play, and get the Bengals. Line up for new life and get the touchdown. Key extra point here, because now that makes it a 4-point game. A field goal will not tie you. Ron Pitts, John Lynch here in Cincinnati, and it's been that type of a game all day long, back and forth. As I said earlier, the Saints came out running the football very well with Chris Ivory. Brees very efficient as always, but second half here, the Bengals got it going.
The Bengals did, but the difference between a team that's 2-9, looking like they're going to go 2-10, and defending Super Bowl champs is when the game's on the line, you make the big play, the smart play. And the Saints just outsmarted the Cincinnati Bengals right there.
It comes down to key moments, key plays. And if you've ever wondered what that means, you just saw it right there. Fourth down and inches. And you could see that Brees was into his hard count mode. He kept going back and forth and hand signals and everything. And then all of a sudden you get the movement on the other side by the Bengals.
You saw America's game of the week, the Bucs in Atlanta. You know the New Orleans Saints are going to be tuning into that one, or at least getting the news on their plane ride back to New Orleans. But just a great illustration. We're in a league where there's parity. And the difference between winning and losing, between being a champion and an also-ran, it's very minute. And there was a great illustration of it that last drive for the New Orleans Saints.
Bengals now with one timeout left and a 4-point game. This is Bernard Scott. He's had some decent returns all day. And there's another one out to midfield. No flags down. It'll count. And that's where Carson Palmer and the Bengals offense will start their drive.
Ronnie, remember the 22 seconds. We got one timeout. Field goal will not do it. We have a 4-point game. They need to get to the end zone. And I think you've got to look to your big dogs. This is a team full of weapons. You got Terrell Owens, you have Chad Johnson, you have the outstanding young rookie Gresham and Shipley in the slot. You got plenty of weapons. You got to methodically take the ball downfield.
For all intents and purposes, this would be the season for the Bengals. At 2-9, they aren't going anywhere in the postseason. It would be huge to knock off the defending Super Bowl champions. They started off with a screen to Leonard. And it's a good call. Leonard
You got to get that timeout.
Waxed just inside the 40-yard line.
Oh, he's going to go for the clock. Wow.
How come they don't call the timeout?
You've got one timeout.
He thought he could get everyone on the ball fast enough, but he couldn't. And wasted at least 7 seconds before he called the timeout.
And that's just bad clock management, excuse me. You've got the timeout, use it. You can't take it home with you. take a look after this screen pass. We're going to watch Leonard. Here's the game clock. 14 seconds. Instead, we're down to 8 seconds. You lose 6 seconds. Every second's critical.
You basically lose what amounts to a play.
One play.
We'd like to welcome you watching the Green Bay San Francisco game. Green Bay with the victory. And that one 34-16, the last gasp here for the Bengals. They are now out of timeouts. Pressure, sack, and what else would you expect from Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator? Roman Harper finishes the deal, and the Saints will go to 9-3, still keeping pace with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South.
Ronnie, I love the aggressiveness. You can sit back and try to bat down the Hail Mary play, but like you said, Greg Williams instead dials up the pressure and says, we're going to finish this thing, and that's exactly what the New Orleans Saints do.
Second half of our doubleheader coming up. Most of you will see Tampa Bay taking on Atlanta, or the Dallas Cowboys and the Indianapolis Colts coming your way. That's it from here in Cincinnati.